Hello and welcome to Fashion Report Friday, the weekly video series trying to get you the absolute most from the Fashion Report minigame located inside Gold Saucer every Friday when judging begins. This is week 171 and the theme then, as you can see on screen, is Inventive Mage. The clues individually include keeping it weird for your helm, I believe in magic for your chess piece, primal revival for your hands, and shod with sandals for your feet. In this video, we'll have a 100 score, an 80 with dies, and the easiest 80 I can come up with for the week. Without further ado then, let's move on to that 100 score. Okay then, here's the 100. In theory this should work. There we go. Perfect. So for my 100 score then, for the helm, I went with the Charlian goggles. This is something you can obtain from the Gold Saucer itself off of the prize claim 1 vendor in the main plaza of the Gold Saucer, and you can get these for 20,000 MGP. Now, it seems a bit strange to spend MGP to get MGP, but this is one of the easiest options to get, because it's equipable by both genders level 1 and above on all classes. Alternatively then, there are others that are slightly more difficult to obtain, such as the Sable Death Mask, which will work for gold rating. The Shaded Visor should work for gold as well, and I believe the Imperial Shadow Visor will all give you gold, all of those options, but I went for these Charlian goggles because, you know, I already had them around anyway from a previous purchase, but 20,000 MGP for something that pops up quite a bit isn't a bad investment in my opinion. For the chest then, I went with the Vanya Robe of Healing. This is actually a fairly basic craft with Weaver. You can actually go for the Vanya Robe of Casting as well. They both basically use the same materials. If you don't want to go for a Vanya Robe, then you can go for an Acolyte's Robe. I believe the Battle Mage's Robe, the Cashmere Robe of Casting, the Magician's Robe, the Pilgrim's Robe, and the Royal Vest. Those should all give you gold rating. Of course, I've not tested those, but based on historical data from previous times that this clue has emerged for a chest, those have all worked. So check them out, and it should work. For your arms then, I went for the Augmented Hailstorm Gloves of Healing. These are actually obtained with Poetics these days, and you can go over to his manor in Idleshire at the main area where the desks are that you get gear from, and you can get these from the Disciple of Magic, in particular for these healing ones, number 1 tab. And on here you will get all of the augmented stuff. So you can go for the Augmented Hailstorm Gloves of Healing, or the casting ones. From what I understand, basically any of these will work. That includes the Augmented Torrent stuff for aiming and scouting, the Hellfire stuff for fending, Slipstream for maiming, basically anything from the tab 1 that are gloves for any role in the game, any class, any job, will work in theory. It does look like that. They all give gold rating because of the Primal Revival clue, which means you can use any of those. So it should be fairly easy to get a hold of those. Those only cost you, a couple hundred, 500 and something tomes. I forget now. I'll have to look back at the footage, but it's fairly easy to get a hold of. And Poetics, if you're like me, you're just swimming in them anyway. And finally then, for this 100, for the Shod with Sandals clue, we went for the leather sandals. Now these are a level 5 pair of booties, well, sandals in this situation, and these are item level 5, equipable by all classes, all genders, and all jobs in the game, and you can get these from any low-level city-state vendor, such as Iron Thunder, who I've decided to showcase today because a lot of people say, oh, you give Gwalter too much credit. Well, here's his competitor. You can get these vendors in any of the 3 starting city-states, obviously Gridania, Uldar, and Limsa. So go and find whichever one you want to invest in. These will only cost you 115 gil, or you can craft these with Leatherworker, but I'm not really sure why you would want to do that when you can get them so cheaply from a vendor. So there's the 100 score then, nice and easy in my opinion. You might disagree, which is why we have other options on the table. So let's move on to that 80 with dies. Alright then, here we are with the die options. You'll be pleased to know that these are actually fairly easy and shouldn't really pose you much gil as a problem. Finally, we don't have any jet blacks. So as you can see then, the weapon is cobalt brown. Your helm needs to be Rolandberry red, your body cobalt brown, your hands soot black, your legs million corn yellow, and your feet cobalt brown. All very easy to obtain dyes. And yeah, I mean, you might look a little bit like a bee by the end of it, as you can see on my character, but at least it's affordable and it's a very easy way of getting 80, in my opinion. However, some of you might not want to go and get all of these dyes, so there is an easier way of doing this, technically, so let's go straight to that. Alright then, so for the easiest 80 possible, this is my sort of amalgamation, my attempt at this. Now you must follow this to the letter if you want to get close to it, or you can mix and match other things yourselves. But this is what I did for my easy 80, and we'll show it on my alt in a moment. But any chess piece in the game, and we've dyed that bark brown. So usually you would be going for the cobalt brown, right? But a cobalt brown is, you know, something you have to make. I think the bark brown's easier to get. Basically any brown dye would work for this. But bark brown is sold by vendors. I'll have those shown on screen for you. It sells for 40 gil a pot, so actually really easy to obtain. You don't have to craft anything. Just go to one of those areas, purchase the bark brown dye. So we put bark brown dye on any chest in the game, right? And then we've got any gloves in the game. These are just the reindeer gloves. Any gloves in the game will work. And put soot black on those. Soot black will get you the most points. Make sure you just have something equipped in every other slot. Then equip yourself the leather sandals and then dye those another bark brown dye. The reason we're putting bark brown on those is because whilst it's not the best brown for this slot, it is still brown, so we get a little bit extra pointage. And as you can see, make sure you have something in every single slot of your gear and you will get an 80 score. And I will prove that again. We'll move on to my alternate character. Alright, and here we are on the alternate character, my Lalafell, and we should get an 80, which of course we do because we followed my instructions to the letter. And of course, that means that any chess piece in the game then with bark brown dye, that's the one we've gone for. Any gloves in the game with soot black. Then we've got those leather sandals from a low-level city-state vendor, dyed those bark brown, and we've got an 80 score. So there we go, that's proven. If you've got any problems, then you've not been following this correctly. Just make sure something is equipped in all of your gear slots and use those dyes and combinations with that those sandals. I don't know why I said gloves, and you'll get an 80 score. Simple as that. Anyway, thank you kindly for watching this video. Hopefully this has been helpful this week. For more love and attention to the people who theorize this every week, go and check the link out in the description to go to the Reddit thread. Thank you to Kaiko Star, the rest of the Reddit team, and of course the Japanese community who posted first today, as they always usually do on social media. A lot of people worldwide work to go towards this effort, and yeah, it never goes unnoticed, at least by me. Much love, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.